You ask why the company is returning so much cash to its shareholders. Very simple, really. The Board of Altona has a view that companies exist to make money for the shareholders. Our purpose is to return cash. We've been through a cycle. We've built, financed, paid back debt, sold the project in Finland, and shareholders need some reward. Some of those shareholders have been there for some time. So we think it's the right and proper thing to do if we put the shareholder first and return some of that wealth to shareholders. In addition, the deal in itself was a great deal, and that was acknowledged as such by the Mines and Money conference in London, which awarded Altona the best mid-cap deal of the year. There was some serious competition for that deal. It's a feather in our cap to do a deal like that, but as always, the next steps are what matter, not yesterday but tomorrow. Cash is king in this market. The mining markets have gone through a very difficult time. It's hard for companies to raise money. We have almost 50 million in cash, and that is a powerful asset. The first thing that we're going to do is we're not going to squander it. That cash will be husbanded in a sensible way, where we will spend it on advancing the Little Eva project in a methodical and sensible way. Following the discovery of Turkey Creek, we need to revisit our feasibility study, mine layout, environmental management plans. We'll do that at a modest pace, such that the project moves forward and continues to be ready to develop. In terms of burn rate, probably haven't fully decided yet, but we're looking at something around 4 million a year to be able to maintain the tenements, pay government rentals, the public company overheads, and advance the asset in a meaningful way. Many of you will have noticed the discovery at Turkey Creek. We have put out an exploration target for that, somewhere between 18 and 22 million tonnes. We're probably now at the stage now where we know roughly how big it is. We're working on getting a formal resource number in that and getting that out into the market. So what we'll be doing now is to try and turn that into something that can be incorporated into the development plan for the asset. This means things like a new layout, metallurgy, pit design, geotechnical engineering. But again, as I said previously, in a methodical and relatively low-cost way. In terms of attracting a partner, we've said many times we're looking at three options. The first is to look for a joint venture partner who would put in equity and help us develop the project in exchange for a share of the project. The second way that shareholders could realise value is by selling the project in a similar way in which we sold Kuulilahti to Boliden. And the third is a corporate deal where we merge with another entity to realise value. The important thing about the transaction is we have to demonstrate the value in Little Eva. Our trading on the share market imputes very little value to this asset. I know from the discussions we've been having with other parties that the market itself does not believe that. This is a real asset, it has real value. The key for us is finding that transaction that demonstrates value. There are some costs involved in this, and not always things that you can talk about. If you engage with a third party, for example, and go in a merger and you go and do due diligence in their asset, you can spend quite a lot of money assuring yourself or not that the asset is worthwhile. So we will be spending in the order of $50,000, $100,000 a month on that kind of activity. However, you can be assured that the second that we think then those sort of expenditures are not warranted, we cease. This year, I think we've learned a lot from Turkey Creek. As always, when one deals with nature, you're humbled. Many of our ideas about how to go looking for things have been disproven by Turkey Creek. It's actually very simple. If we do pattern soil sampling for copper using an X-ray gun, it's very cheap, very effective. We can cover a large area. We found Turkey Creek, which had been missed by CRA. We didn't really take it seriously, first of all. And our first priority is to cover the area near the proposed plant with soil sampling, go do mapping, generate lots of targets in a first phase of testing with RAB drilling. My belief is that adding mine life and adding scale to this asset is much more than incremental value. It can be transformational value. So again, we'll be doing that in a measured and sensible way. On the satellite deposits, what we'll be doing there is to reassess old data, remodel and get them into a more sophisticated understanding, such that when we decide that the project is financed and ready to develop, we can move in with expensive drilling and add to reserves and test targets in the periphery of them. My view in copper markets is very simple. It's with all markets. It will go up and it will go down, and we're never sure what the order is. However, I think copper markets are very simple. They're very different from iron ore, copper, coal and bulk commodities. They're not infrastructure dependent, they're resource dependent. There are no more Escondidas or Grasbergs, these mega deposits around, and demand keeps growing. There is no demand crisis in the copper market. Demand keeps growing by 2% or more a year, and it's big numbers. We need a new supply. Supply is struggling, and the one thing that the fall in the copper price has done is completely disincentivized new developments. If there's a time to build a copper asset, it's now, when the price is down, such that when the predicted tightness comes back in the copper market, that you're in production. Copper is possibly the best placed of all commodities in my view, in that it's used in everything, diverse use of, universe of end uses, and there's no one big supplier, many small mines, and the demand continues to grow. Copper is in everything, your iPhone, your computer that you're watching this on. We need it and we'll continue to need it. One thing I notice in social media sites is much dialogue about the company and its activities. And one thing I'd encourage shareholders to do is we are open and available and always happy to take an email from you. You'll find the address on the website, or to take a phone call. Please, you have questions, ask.